The Democratic Alliance in Gauteng will elect new leadership at its provincial congress in Boksburg today.
Well, the party's current leader in Gauteng, Msimanga, is expected to face a strong challenge from Nkhumeni Ramulifho. Well, the DA has delayed announcing its candidate for premier until after the provincial congress. Let's now take you there.
It is in Gauteng that the future of South Africa will either be made or broken come 2024. And so it is my great pleasure to have come up here for this brief speech, and I was told to be very brief, and diakwazi ukumamela. So I'm going to keep very brief. Dingu go 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 go. Andikwazi ukuqensa. Kodwa diakwazi kuthetha. My Democrats, we are literally fighting for South Africa's future. But you know what? We can do it. When I was elected leader many years ago, before many of you were born, I had three phrases. I said, we can, we must, and we will. We can, we must, and we will, and we are almost there. You know, the DA does polling every day, every single day. We know what the voters are thinking. We know how they're responding to us. We know what issues move them. And we don't talk publicly about the details of our polling. But I want to tell you that every Friday I sit on the edge of my seat to wait for the results to come in. And without going into any detail, let me tell you, we have never been closer. There's an English idiom that says we are in spitting distance, which means if you are standing behind someone and you spit, not far, just a little bit, you will hit them. And that is how close we are to becoming the biggest party in Gauteng. And Blue Army, it depends on you. It depends on all of us, but more than anything else, it depends on all the wonderful blue soldiers in this room. The battleground for South Africa's future. But before we look to the future, I want to look back over the months since the 2021 election on the 1st of November of that year. And I need to say thank you to the brave warriors of Gauteng. You know, when a ship is moving in the water, people see it sailing peacefully, but they don't see the engine and the horsepower that is required to keep it moving forward. And there were so many wonderful people who worked day and night negotiating the coalitions, often until 1 o'clock in the morning. That team sat there and tried to put together the most complex coalitions, not only in South Africa, but I would reckon anywhere in the world. And we had 9-party coalitions, 7-party coalitions, things that are unheard of anywhere else. In Britain, they can't even manage a 2-party coalition. And here we are in South Africa, pioneering the way for the world to show how a complex, plural society can form a democracy. And of course, we had minority coalitions here, which means that even if all the coalition partners add up together, we can't get more than half. And those are very, very difficult. And if there is one message those coalitions must send to every voter of Gauteng, when you look at the Western Cape and compare the Western Cape to every other province in South Africa, there's only one key difference, and that color is blue. That color is blue. If it wasn't for blue government in the Western Cape almost for 20 years, since 2006, we wouldn't be able to see the difference between any of the provinces. But we don't have to look overseas for examples or anywhere else. Right in our country here, we can see the difference that blue government makes. We don't have to talk about it, we can see it and we can feel it. But our message to the voters of Gauteng and the whole of South Africa in this election is, if you want blue government, you have to vote for it. It doesn't just come. If you want blue government, you have to vote for it. And it's quite unfair for voters, let's say in Johannesburg, to give us 26% of the vote and then demand blue government. We can't do that, and the fault is not ours. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, did I play my part as a voter to bring the government I want? And that is the message, because voters have the primary responsibility. And then, of course, we have to do the necessary, and when we're in government, we do, and we do our very, very best. So now, as we look at our great Gauteng cities, and I grew up in this one, and went to school in this one, and we see them crumbling, it is literally heartbreaking. And every day, my heart and all the strength that I can send via Telstar goes to Celia Brink, who has the hardest job in the whole of South Africa. And when people in the ANC demand that the ANC veterans give the youth a chance, I say, just look at the DA and how many young people have the chance to climb the ladder and reach the top positions in the DA. And gogos like me like sitting in the background to support them and to help them and to carry them and to lift them up so that they can climb much higher than we ever did. And so we are behind you all. And as I said, we are in spitting distance of the yellow party. And in this election, it may be blue versus yellow. That's what it is in this election. But let me tell you something. It won't be long. It won't be long before the choice is between blue and red. Blue and red will be the future choice of South Africa. I've lived long enough to see the death of two huge parties that once were all powerful in South Africa. One was the United Party. Now, many of you may never have heard of the United Party. It was once a very powerful government under Prime Minister Jan Smuts. Do you remember him from history? Well, I was alive then. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Andy Kloki, I was here. And that almighty party that had the respect of the whole world, because they didn't organize properly internally, and because they did not know where their roots were, and because they could not default to principles, they unraveled and died while I was a journalist on the Rand Daily Mail writing about it. And then the National Party, it was almost like a one-party state, single-party domination. The DA's forerunner, the Progressive Party, had one public representative in the whole of South Africa. And I often wish Helen Zille could just look down and see us now. I wish she could just look down and see us now. We had one public representative in the whole of South Africa at that point. In kyk hoe lyk ons nou. But believe me, no one would ever have said in their wildest dreams that within my lifetime the National Party would be gone. And it is. And let me make a prediction. because the ANC doesn't know what it stands for anymore, because it can't revert to principles, because it hasn't got any, believe me, in my lifetime, I will see that party die too. But then the real battle begins between blue and red. And remember the difference. Red is hate. Blue is reconciliation and love. Racism is red. Non-racialism is blue. Failed Marxist economics is red. Economic growth and a social market economy is blue. State control is red. Freedom is blue. Breaking everything down and calling for the murder of people is red. Building up and bringing people together, the blue people, is blue. And if South Africa is to have any future at all, it is to be blue. All of you here, we look at as blue people. You may not look blue on the outside like I don't, I'm a pale shade of grey. But inside, your heart beats blue. And I often say, if you listen to your heart, all the blue people, you will hear B-A. So blue people, mobilize. We need to go out and conquer, because the future of our beloved country depends on you. Phambili DA! Phambili DA! God bless you all. Thank you.
Asante maku.
Oi, oi, Godzilla, oi, everybody give it up for a round of applause for Helen Zille. Indeed, thank you very much for that inspiring speech, Helen.